There's no place like home. There's no place.
Home. Our house is a very, very, very fine house with 2 cats in the yard.
Well, hi there. Welcome to Home Wizards, where we love to help improve your home and improve your life. I'm Cindy Dole.
And I am Eric Stromer.
Are you thinking of doing a vacation this summer?
Boy, am I ever. I got to tell you, I love the vacation. It's the only time that Daddy gets to nap.
That is not true.
That's true.
You take a nap every day.
I did one today a little bit. But no, most of the time.
I'm just going to call you a napster.
I might have narcolepsy.
Really?
Seriously, I can fall asleep after drinking an espresso and, it's the middle of the morning and I can go down. I could have narcolepsy. Driving, I'm okay.
Good. Well, vacations to me, I mean, there's a good side and a bad side. The good side is you're going to get to clear your head, because we all work so darn hard, right?
And then the bad side is
you come back and you have twice the work.
Well, not only that, but the bad side is for someone that like you that has a lot in your head all the time. You're thinking all the time, and I know that's how I am. It's very difficult for me to finally relax. It takes 2.5, 3 weeks before I finally get into the rhythm.
The zone.
Then I'm flying home.
Well, imagine flying home and then finding out that something bad had happened to your home while
You mean like all your plants were dead?
Wouldn't that be depressing?
Yes.
Especially with what you've been doing with your plantings.
It's overwhelming to think the stress and the preparation to get everything ready before you go out of town is almost as much work as when you get back, when you realize what didn't work, right?
It kind of is.
Yeah.
It's like just getting the chance to, who of us has enough vacation time? I mean, Europe, they get 6 or 7 weeks. We're lucky to get maybe 2 or 3.
By the way, they let people take naps there. That's part. Why aren't we in Spain? What? Sangria, naps.
I know.
2 months of vacation. What are we doing?
I don't know.
Because we could be doing this from a raft in a pool.
Thing like
yeah, Castilian Spanish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, anyway, I thought we would talk about prepping your home and your garden before you do go for that summertime vacation, because there are so many things that can happen.
Great idea too, because timers can go down on you. You can have power failures and surges from air conditioning when the summer months or so. Energy, they take so much energy, obviously, in the power grid. As soon as the power goes out, all the timers in my house have to reset, and they don't, and then it's always a problem.
So it's about that. It's about your garden. It's about what if your house were to burn down? Really some scary things.
It's about also people saying they are, in fact, going to come feed your cat, and they just simply never do come.
So speaking of pet sitters and house sitters, we've done that before, and actually it's been very effective. Have you ever done that before, where you have someone come to your home because then they're going to water your plants, they're going to bring in the newspaper so it doesn't look like no one's there, and then your pets feel, they're still in the comfort of their space while someone is walking them and talking to them. And
in theory, it's a fantastic thing. I've only had my brother or a friend, quote-unquote friend, who fail.
Oh, really?
Plants are dead. The cat is in, Phoenix somehow. It just walked away on the freeway. Things have gone down for me. So I would love to know about these people.
Well, they have a lot of these services. This has become quite an up-and-coming entrepreneurial thing, the whole house sitter, pet sitter thing, because we all need it, right? We need
Absolutely.
someone to take care of us.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of times we've dropped off our pets to little local vet clinics where they'll have a day rate, and they'll walk your pet. And sometimes it goes anywhere from $25 to $50 a day. It's based on the size of your pet.
I'm afraid if I had these folks come into our lives, I would say, could you stay on for a while after we got back?
You get addicted to it?
Yeah, just to have them babysit and take care of the kids and, maybe walk the dog every now and then, but pretty much bring us breakfast in bed, whatever, anything, just helping out around the house.
Yeah. Well, these people, I found for us, it's about on par, if not cheaper, than leaving them at, with the vets, hospital or clinic.
And I can't justify taking Hazel to. It feels like you're dropping them off in prison. They're going in a little sentence because they had some armed robbery charges against them or something. And you see all the other bulldogs poking their head out like, "Hey, what are you in for?" when you bring the dog in, it just doesn't feel.
Well, and they're all whining. And
I
crying.
know. I know.
But you know what? There's some really good ones there, and it's a good service. Really.
Yeah.
There's some good ones. And they especially the ones that we've been to where they have a thing where they walk your dog twice a day. So they're getting exercise and they're on a run. They're not just in a little quote unquote cage. They're in a nice long area to stretch their legs. And
You know, they probably are treated better than when they're just at home with the family. You notice that? Like,
maybe.
yeah, I don't know. When my mom and dad took Hazel to the groomer. They do it every month. It's sort of their little. This is my Labradoodle, obviously. They groom her. My dad gets the chance to walk around the neighborhood and see all of the neighbors, and they love the way Hazel looks. She's got that little fancy, dramatic scarf after the people wash her and shave her up, make her look great. And she's treated like a queen. I mean, she's never had this treatment except when she goes to Grandma and Grandpa's. So that's kind of how I feel about these places. They may want to just stay. Please don't pick me up. I don't want to go back and get poked by the children.
So let's talk about some of the things. I mean, yes, you have your pets to think about, and you have your plants to think about. In terms of your garden, I mean, wouldn't it be the worst if you came back home and your lawn was just dead? I mean, what could you do to anticipate that? I mean, I think that maybe it's a good idea to have a neighbor watch out for it, watch out for like brown spots or wilt, and maybe, invest in a lawn service, somebody to come by and just kind of monitor and give it a little extra TLC.
There's no question. And especially if you've just purchased a bunch of plants and flowers like I have. I spent about $400 or $500 on amending my garden beds, right? And if the timer went down, they'll be dead in 5 days.
Yeah, it's worth the investment, especially if you spent the money.
Yep.
But if your garden did die, I mean, with wilted flowers, or you just have now planted your veggie garden and you come home and all your tomatoes are eaten by critters.
Right?
And what can you do? And I think that you basically want to think about your plants surviving at least a week without watering. And a lot of times the older plants, it's harder for them to survive, that long. And so you've gotten some new sprinklers, I know, that you had put in and had installed.
Right.
But there's something, have you heard about this thing called the Mr. It's a battery-operated device to basically drip water your container plants. And it's at the big box stores for like $25.
The only Mr. I know are the ones that sing "Take These Broken Wings."
Exactly. Right.
But that's a great idea. The ability to get water up into a hanging plant or a little garden bed. Let's maybe on a balcony or something.
You can.
How does it work? Actually, do you know?
It's like a battery operated drip system.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah, with a little device, like a container. Like you've seen these little pet water coolers where, that releases more water. It's that same kind of a thing where you fill it up, like you would your sparklets or your Arrowhead water, and then it releases water with a battery and a timer.
It's great.
But if you didn't want to go that route, I mean, you can also bring all your containers into the bathtub. Have you ever done that before?
I have not.
And you basically fill the bottom of the tub with some water. And then you put at one end some cotton rope in the water and the other end in the pot. And the rope then acts like a wick.
Oh.
And it keeps your plants from getting thirsty.
But you have to have light in there, obviously.
You want to have, hopefully there's some sunlight. Or if it's a super dark, maybe have a timer and some light in your...
Yeah.
But isn't that kind of a cool idea?
That is a great idea,
And then, and better yet, you can even put the rope's end in the toilet tank. And then it will refill itself when the water level, it drops too low. Isn't that kind of
that's
neat?
Kind of really
that's
great.
kind of science fancy, I think.
Sure is. Wait, science fancy?
Science fancy? Kind of
that's
a little
kind
science
of a great
project.
expression.
Now, you've dealt with mold a lot. I know a lot as a contractor. Can you imagine coming home and your entire bathroom is covered with all these black spots? How do you prevent that?
Boy, I don't know. What do you do?
Well, I think the humidity is a bad thing. And in the summertime, if it starts to get a little more humid, that's the breeding ground for the spores, right?
Sure.
So, I mean, I guess it's a good idea to do some checking before you go in advance to keep the house dry and mold-free before you leave.
Right, and then you want the windows probably cracked slightly to make sure that you get ventilation.
Have some dehumidifiers maybe going over the sinks,
Yep.
So basically now your home is getting complete therapy treatments.
Yeah, better than when you're even there. Why do we even live in our homes?
You come home and the house goes, oh, it's you. You're back already?
Yeah, boy. Now I'm going to get mold again. Oh, boy.
But that would be a really bad idea. Good idea to maybe in advance, again, if you have double hung windows, right, to kind of keep the air circulating with the screen door open. Just kind of let it kind of breeze through and run the fan.
Yep. Love it. And then what do you think about having the timer on the AC? Do you even want it to come on ever during the time that you're gone, or is it just a total waste of energy?
Well, I think that I'd have it on, and I'd keep it at 77.
Yeah, I wonder
Especially
about
if your
that.
pets are there,
Well, yeah, obviously that. But if you're not there and there aren't pets, do we care if the house is cooled or not? Probably not. Well, maybe because of the plants. It might be too hot for the plants
I
inside.
think so. To keep it just kind of circulating.
Yeah.
Heck, set it at 80 then, if you're worried about it.
80, that's a good
80.
idea. Yeah.
What about the bad guys coming to take your stuff?
You mean the boogeyman?
You know, when the piles of newspaper come on and, you know, not to mention if your kids are posting on Facebook that you're going on a vacation.
Yes.
These crooks are now monitoring Facebook
they
to
really?
see when you're going. Yeah, and then they swoop in on that entire neighborhood. So you want to make sure you weren't telling the world on Facebook about your vacation.
Yeah, and also delivery people and
Stop the deliveries.
and the folks that show up with flyers and stuff. I hear
Right.
they're casing houses.
Right, they
see
pretend
through
to have the flyers, and
But
they're
you know
really,
the best indicator, in my opinion, is when there's stuff in the driveway and newspapers piled up. That's the dead giveaway. You know, and if the cars don't move.
Well, when we come back, we have some more tips to make sure that your home doesn't look like it's a target waiting for those crooks, and other things you should do to make sure that your home is safe and sound and feeling loved while you're going on your vacation.
Great.
You're listening to Home Wizards. Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole. We love to help improve your home and improve your life. We're back in a moment here. Don't you go away.
Would you know we're riding on the Marrakesh Express? Would you know we're riding on the Marrakesh Express?
Welcome back to Home Wizards. I'm Cindy Dole.
Hey, I'm Eric Strom.
We love to help improve your home and improve your life, and a big part of that is making sure that when you have that long-deserved vacation, that after you've gone away, you've gone to, Hawaii or the Bahamas or Michigan or wherever you've gone for your special, getaway, you come back and something bad's happened to your home. So we're trying to give you some advice on how to avoid that. Have you ever been burglarized throughout your life?
I have not, and it scares me. My house feels very vulnerable in terms of, people could easily. I mean, I break in all the time because I never bring my key with me, and only I know how to get in. Doggy door. Anyway.
You can fit through the doggy door?
Well, no, my arm can. And it's
really,
and that's something.
Your arm is a snake.
Yes, it is.
It
I'm like
sounds,
that rubber man, superhero rubber man.
That sounds kind of like my dad, Lucky Chucky, when he was losing his vision. But he would always be able to find the plate of the chocolate chip cookies, and his arm would like a snake. Kind of
sure, yeah. Well, yeah.
And get that cookie.
That's your father. God bless him. Right.
Well, that's how you are with a doggy door. You can slither on in there.
I can get in. I've always been pretty good at it. Even when as a contractor.
You're like in a circus or something, aren't you?
I'm like a second story man. They call me. No, there would always be times with my jobs that I was doing when I was remodeling houses and stuff where I'd somehow lock myself out, and I think I would have been a good thief. In other words, I can find ways. And it turns out the front door is the most obvious place where you would break in, and that's the highest percentage of where break-ins occur, the front door. Who would think, right? You'd think everybody would want to walk around the side or go up to the second story.
Yeah.
But no, the front door is always the place to start with these guys as well.
That's kind of bold and... kind of in your face.
I think that, the technique, it's middle of the day a lot of the time.
Yep.
They see that you're not there. They bring a big old moving truck or a panel van. It just looks like they're there working. And, who's going to notice? I don't really know my neighbors that well. I know the guy. Well, I know the guy next door now because, my cat attacked his. But that's a whole nother story. But
that same thing happened to our house. A guy came up the street, and thank goodness our neighbors are kind of doing the neighborhood watch thing. So it is important to know your neighbors, or at least swap phone numbers and keep an eye out.
Yep.
But thank goodness our neighbor was keeping an eye, and I was gone for part of the day. And thank goodness we have these ferocious Old English sheepdogs.
Boy.
They just bark a lot. But
They
it was a couple of guys in a white truck, and it just said Home Improvement on the back of it. And it was a total scam, and they've been driving throughout the neighborhood in the middle of the day, like around 2-ish.
Yeah.
And they hit several of the homes on our street that had security systems, and they said no to this, no to that. They went up to the driveway to ours. We didn't have that sign in front, and the dog scared them away. They basically were attempting to break in through the front door, but the dog scared them away.
Good, yeah, and that's it too. People say, these experts in houses being burglarized talk about a dog is a great thing. Obviously, the signs are almost in some ways more important. The alarm company signs are some way more important than actually having the alarm. So it's just sort of like, the visual aspects, the illusion, and to that. When I'm away, I like the idea of changing your lights around. Maybe one time at night it's in the kid bedroom, one time it's in the living room. You have timers on different lights. I think that's a really good way to make it seem like you're still there, and then get somebody obviously to pick the mail up. To your point,
There's this great device, I should say, that's out there, and I'm going to dig up the name for you in just a minute. But it basically is a little, like for $25, a little. It looks like the size of maybe a cell phone thing that you plug into the wall, and it duplicates the illusion of TV being on.
great. Oh, is that the one with the flashy lights?
Yeah, and so
Yes.
it kind of gives you that kind of flickering look. So from outside, a prowler would think that there's Daddy watching TV in the family room.
Yep.
And it's a really cool thing, but we'll get that name for you just a bit in the website. But it's a lot of the crime prevention experts say that that's a great way to go.
And also,
Simple thing.
it doesn't take up too much energy.
Right,
Like a television, if you had it on the whole time you were gone, could be a little pricey. But this thing is low energy.
Right. Of course, picking a good lock is another good key. You talked about the front door.
Right.
And I guess they could try to kick down the front door, but you want to delay the process as much as possible, because if they get stressed and they go, I can find the next guy is going to be faster, they'll say no to you, right?
Yeah, they sure will. And a deadbolt is the best possible thing you could do. That gives you about an inch and a half of solid steel going into the receptacle on the door jamb, and you would actually have to break the door apart to get in. Whereas some of these cheaper locks, you can just kick them right open, right through.
Is that a DIY project to install those, you think?
It depends. If it's the same size exactly as the original hole, yes. If it's a new thing that you have to bore out, you got to get a door hanger to do it, because that can get a little bit tricky. So it just kind of depends. They sell a lot of kits that are kits to amend old things that are already in a door. So it just kind of depends, again, on your particular situation.
I always thought it'd be a good idea to have your local police department come to your house and just kind of tell you how you could look a little safer, how you could be a little safer.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Go to your city hall, and I know that they have a lot of retired police officers who work as a community service to help in your neighborhood, to be just a little better, so that when you are on vacation, your house doesn't look like it's just this, hey, come on, get me.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, and boy, they must know, huh? Seriously, those guys probably heard it all and seen it all, and they would probably have great ideas on this. Yeah, I had, unfortunately, in my neighborhood a couple of years ago, there was a guy that would walk around with just a sweatshirt on and no pants.
Oh, no.
And a hoodie. And I went to the police department, because this was kind of close to my kid's school, and they said, "Oh no, that's Joe.
Oh, jeez.
He's just got a little bit of an issue. He's okay. He's not gonna." I'm like, "But the guy doesn't have pants."
Oh, gross.
We'll take a look out for him.
Well, I found the TV device. It's called Fake TV.
Oh, okay.
Kind of obvious. But if you go to the website, it's faketv.com, and they have videos, and you get the idea. But because burglars don't like it when the house is occupied and this fake TV looks like people are there when you're not.
Right.
And how perfect while you're on vacation to have that little light flickering.
Yeah, and also burglars don't want to go in when there are folks in the home, because they might have firearms.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seriously, like you don't want to. You don't want to go in and risk that kind of danger if you're going to try and steal a TV or a computer or something. So anytime it seems like someone's there, that's going to be a great deterrent.
I think another good thing to do is to watch where you hide your spare key. Do you have a spare key? Well, you said that you always are locking yourself out.
Yes.
So you probably have your spare key inside the house.
It's probably locked in the car or in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Knowing me. Yeah. So the answer is no.
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of times growing up, we would put our spare key under the doormat, which is kind of dumb, because, that's like where everyone puts it.
Well, but it might be so incredibly obvious that no one would think to look there. That's the other take on it.
Maybe. But there's a lot of these different cute little tchotchke things that look like it's garden art that you can use to stash your key, like a gnome, or, put it in one of those.
Well, I've seen the fake rocks that have the cutout inside of them. But I think those you probably would never notice that.
If it's
that's
if it's hidden like on the other side of the garden with the other things, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other things that can go wrong besides the crime thing is, of course, what if a tree were to fall on your house? You're worried about that big tree of yours in the front yard.
Whenever there are high winds, it's an old eucalyptus tree. It's very, very tall.
Yeah.
It feels to me like, at any moment one of those things will fall
And the storm
off.
season can hit hardest and sometimes the summer months. So it's a good idea, I think, if you are feeling a little nervous, or feeling worried about this oak tree that's kind of tilting, have an arborist come and help with the trimming back those limbs that are too close to your house, so that you don't have to worry about coming home and it's crashed down on your roof.
Great idea. Now, I'll tell you what has happened to me, which is really kind of scary, and you can't ever know. And the only way to prevent it is to have the dish or the pan under the hot water heater. My hot water heater went on me once, and it literally all drained out and flooded the house. Had I had the little receptacle that goes underneath the heater for another, I think they're about $30, $40. When you're having a new hot water heater installed, make sure you have that underneath because it'll save you.
Good tip.
Yeah.
Good tip. Well, Father's Day is not too far away.
Can't wait.
Dad Stromer.
I always get a small tie.
No, you
a clip-on
don't.
tie.
No, you don't. You don't wear ties.
Yeah, that's why I don't really care much about it.
But there's so many great things that you can do for Dad, and we've got some ideas of not only some very cool things to buy Dad for tied to the house, but maybe a project or two to bond with your family.
I'll tell you what I did with my dad.
What'd you do?
Well, we'll wait till the break comes back.
You hung around. I know you're going to say you're at the grill, sitting there staring at a couple
No,
steaks.
I might not say that. We
No?
did other things,
You did
too.
some nice things?
Yeah. In Chicago, I had to always change out from, winter to summer.
Uh-huh.
So there'd be storm windows come off, the air conditioner goes in the windows, and then the snow tires come off the car, and, all that kind of stuff.
So you did that together?
Yeah, it was
Oh,
great.
that's nice. Yeah. I
Still-
used to do weeding with my dad.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
it is.
It's fun. So we'll talk about that.
All right, good. There's going to be a whole lot of other stuff.
Yeah, you're listening to Home Wizards. Be sure to check out our website, yourhomewizards.com. Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole. We're back after this.